Well, welcome to our crazy setup today. um, so Katja just changed her position. I changed mine like 3 times. I was set up right in front of my patio door, but I had the choice of either full sunlight on my face, which made me look like a shadowed Marley ghost, or putting the curtain across and being everything in my apartment being seen because of the angle. So now we've moved here, and this is an improvement. How about you, Katja? Where are you situated in your apartment?
I'm in my lounge, but I'm not sure it's an improvement because I think the lighting's probably off, but it's actually more comfortable, so I'll stay like this.
I think I can see you fine. I think we're okay.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. Yay! Oh, good. And I have a typo. That's good. So let's fix that. I try to put this smooth facade out. That's like so professional, but no, not at all. The issue is that I had a power outage this morning in Portland, and so I was sort of scrambling to figure out what to do with this scheduled conversation with Katja. But it's back. It came on like 20 minutes before this, so hence the mad scramble. So we're here for the Patreon book chat, which is every other month with the book club. And the book chat today is with the lovely Katja Weinert, who's going to be talking with me about unfamiliar reading genres. We just picked this topic because it seemed to be floating around on BookTube and be an interesting one to seize upon for a reading topic today. So we both have done the Omnivore book tag, I confirmed, and we have like our default genres that we love. So Katja, why don't you tell us like what are your default favorite go-tos, and then we can sort of branch off from there.
Well, it can switch, but I think the one that stays the main is fantasy. So I do tend to read a lot of fantasy. Less so this year because I realized that my bias was towards reading fantasy novels, and I actually enjoy other genres. So my top 4 that I actually said for the Omnivore tag were fantasy, science fiction, and then I went into nonfiction as well. And I'm trying to remember what my 4th one is. I should probably not have pretended that I remember which 4 I went for. Oh, contemporary fiction, I think, but I'll check. And I do stick with those 4, but I think the go-to one is fantasy.
Okay, I missed the last line because sorry.
That's okay. I said definitely the go-to is fantasy. What about you? Which 4 did you go with?
Okay, so I had historical fiction, my first one, pretty obvious. Nonfiction, romance, and fantasy. And so those are the 4 that I went with. But also in there are classics because, Victober was one of like the first things I got excited about on BookTube, and mystery, which is another go-to, like with romance. I go to those. So I'd say I have 6 like very well rutted roads that I drive up and down in my reading pathway. What about the opposite? The tag doesn't ask this, but what are your definitely like, no, thank you, ma'am, not going to read it, don't get this book within 10 feet of me kind of genres?
I like to say that I don't have any of those books, but I suppose I don't really ever pick up a horror novel. So I very rarely read horror, and until recently, I didn't read much of romance, but I have so rectified that I've read so many romance novels this year, and I've input them into Storygraph and found out that it's my top reading genre for 2021. So I think Margaret's going to join us back again. Yep.
It's obviously Mercury in retrograde today.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds likely. It's star sign, isn't it? Is it astrology?
Yeah, it's the heavens are conspiring to make all the technology go wrong, is what Mercury in retrograde usually just means. Communication and technology is just having a hard time of it today. So
yeah.
Okay, so I heard you say horror in there. And then we've also got a comment from Jim. Jim's up. And he said his 4 for the omnivore tag: science fiction, historical fiction, crime, murder, mystery. I guess that's all one. And fantasy. It works. You can choose more than 4. I went with 6, so that works. All right. And the nose, I'm trying to catch up here and make sure that I'm still coming through. I'm getting that crappy Wi-Fi signal.
Oh. I'm not sure whether to say anything without you, Margaret. Take it off on a tangent.
Go ahead and entertain the masses. Okay. I'm gonna watch this after the recording. You're gonna have said all these brilliant things, and I'll be like, "Gosh, I wish I'd heard that on the first."
I can't, because I can feel that I'm probably in one of those moods that I'll go off on a tangent, and if you cut off and you come back, I'll have taken it totally off topic. So I was good.
That's completely fine. All right. I see Scientists Reading World is also here, and then we're talking about NetGalley. Did you mention NetGalley, or is that Jim's aside?
No, I haven't said anything about NetGalley. That's interesting. NetGalley is good for different genres, yeah.
He chose a psychological thriller and a police procedural. Okay. All right, so it looks strong. So I'm going to go back to what my answer was supposed to be. My no categories are horror, philosophy, sports, finance, art, in Hannah's words, mid-century misogynists, and military. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm immediately like, nope, I'm good. Too short. So that's my,
come philosophy?
Learned it. I don't know.
How come philosophy is in there?
Sorry, what's that?
How come philosophy is in there?
Because I've read very few philosophy things, like Greek texts and whatnot for college, and the ones I've tried to tackle since have been very dry and uninteresting. And yeah, so especially when it gets down to logic and the inevitable logic model, and I just feel like it's too self-satisfied. Yeah. So yeah, Scientists Reading World saying on that I would only pick horror. The rest can go. No vampire romance, anything with zombies, war memoirs. Oh, okay, so we're getting other people's. Yeah. No categories. It's interesting, right? Because you've obviously, I mean, maybe not. You've obviously with someone who turns you off because you associate that genre with that interaction, or you've read it yourself and been turned off because you didn't like it yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so what exists in what I like to call the corridor of consideration? What is in the middle land, and maybe it's not your go-to, but you'd try one if someone recommended it?
Pretty much everything else. I mean, art. Gosh, I say everything else, but there are certain areas that I don't know. I'm not that into erotica. I find it really boring. So, I'd read a romance, but otherwise I'm not. Yeah, I find erotica boring, if that makes sense. That is in my middle category. Am I being controversial?
I heard 2 things you found were boring, but I didn't hear what they were.
Ooh, you just want me to say it again. Erotica.
Oh, erotica. Oh, okay. Yeah, if it's very repetitive, yeah. Or it's very formulaic, that could be boring.
Yep. I've gone off the whole idea of like werewolf, shapeshifter, vampires, but I suppose if it's done well, then I'd be okay with that. So less vampires in terms of Twilight, but perhaps more in a new way, like Ninth Reign.
I'm gonna show you what I do when this happens and I'm not live streaming. Which is that I take my iPhone 6, which is the source of my internet, and start cracking it over the head saying, "Get with the program, buddy." And wave it closer to the computer and say, "Work." Oh my God. We might have to postpone this, I'm afraid, because I'm not getting any of the important words, and it's garbling everything. So I'm so sorry, everybody. I have been wrestling with.
Oh. So I don't know if everyone heard when you first joined, but Margaret had no internet for all of the day, and then sort of 20 minutes before we were due to go live, her internet came back, or rather, her electricity came back, but her internet's not working well, as you can see. I've just done a quick update to everyone about your power and your internet connection.
Okay, I'm back, but I think unfortunately I'm gonna have to postpone. I think it'll work better when I'm down in California. So
okay, no worries.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I've been like
That's
on the
right.
edge of having this happen all the time, and now it's finally like happening so badly that I can't even deal with it. Yeah.
That's okay. I mean, we'll have
Sorry.
more time to prepare as well anyway. So you'll have had power or electricity all of the day, and yeah, so it'll be fine to postpone. Well, I'm fine. I'm sure everyone's okay. So Jim's just said, I thought the West Coast would have good internet.
Okay, I just put a message in the chat saying we'll have to postpone until a later date. I hope that's okay.